Hello everyone, welcome back to the Technology Innovation Hub. So it's going to be a second session of our database migration from local file system to ASM. So let me share this screen. Yeah, so we checked our files. We had 14 files in our local file system. So you can see Arma report schema command output, we had 14, right? All line local file system. So the next step is we need to generate this script, right? So we can generate this script using SQL plus -s, right? And you can say this and here, so it's full. We are going to under temp. This will be the file which is going to get generated. Yeah, and we are going to generate this command, alter database, move data files, and the data file name to our newly created data2 actually, right? So I think this is the output I'm showing in my practical. Yeah, this is the correct one, right? Data2. So we are going to move it to data2, right? Our newly created ASM this group, right? From window data file. So what's going to happen? You will have this output, right? And order by container ID, so that we are going to have the CDB first, right? And then the seed then going to be the Pdb, right? CDB, seed, and the Pdb. So order by container ID. So you can see it's all generating the commands for us and to data to this group, right? And all the files. But you may check the number of files. You're going to have 4, 8, and 11, right? So 11 files, okay. But may remember our report schema had 14 files, right? So what happened to the rest of the 3, right? So if you monitor it further, if you check it further, those are the 3 files which belongs to temp, right? Because there are temporary files. So you remember in our report schema, these 3 files, the last 3 files are for temporary files. So temporary files will not be listing on data file, right? So that's why it's not given. We will have a different approach, right, to migrate the temporary files. Just we'll continue for the time being, right? And so that we can, okay, so the output we can, let me switch to the document. So yeah, it's the same thing I have copied here, right? And the script is generated. So now the final script, this is cat, right? Our path, you may remember, move data files. So if we cat that down, so this is the output. And yes, so data to just formatting, that's okay, right? And step 5, let's do some changes. Yeah, we need to do some changes in this script. Why? Because our database is a multi-tenant database, right? So we need to include what? Include connections, changing sessions for seed as well as for Pdb. So that's what we are doing in this mid of this script. So this is for CDB, since it is order by container ID. So the first 4 files, that is users, undo, and sysocs system, that is the CDB files, right? And after that, the seed, the container ID 2 seed, right? So we are changing alter system set alter session for the current session, right? Pdb seed, right? And moving those 2 files, right? Those 3 files. And then the other one is CDB. So our CDB name, the PDB, not the CDB, right? The pluggable database. So ORCL PDB, that's my PDB name. So we need to open it. In case it's not open, we won't be able to move. So open command also been included. And we are moving those 2. Again, there are 4 files, right? PDB pluggable, we have system, sysocs, undo, users, right? Moving to data2, all right? Right, so that will do that for the DBF files, right? So, and step 5, let's start moving. So it's pretty simple. What we can do, just since we have already connected to our CDB database, so we have been working in the same environment, so there's no reconnection required. So right away we can run that script. So DB, I have changed the script name. That's okay. So whatever name the output given earlier, right? So earlier it's also I will change those names in the document while it's up when I uploading. So the previous file name was moodb file. That's okay. You can use the same name, continue with the same name, or you can whatever name. That's okay, right? So then we are running the same script here, and you can see altered, and all the files being moved, no errors, right? All the file being moved, and then we can check it further. show container name. So I'm in root container, CDB root. And if we check the data files now, you can see CDB files, seed files, and the Pdb files have been moved to data 2. You can see that data 2. This will be moved to data 2, right? So 8 files, right? And been moved at the moment. Why is showing 8? Because if you go back, right, here we had 11, right? Yes, initially it was 14, no? The report schema command said 14. So we kept temp files away. Then we had 11, no? But then it moved 11 as well, right? This output, there are 11. Yes, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11. Yes. But when I say show CDB file, data file, it shows only 8, right? So what is missing here? I mean, this is the accepted behavior, because starting from 12.2, right? So I think I have explained that. You can see, as you can see above, the PDB seed files are not available. The seed files are missing. This is the expected behavior, right? Expected behavior because from 12.2 onwards, that's they have done a change. If you need to see the seed data files, this CDB data files, right? What you can do, there's a hidden parameter to enable exclude seed CDB view false. So this is the default setting. We need to make it true, right? Right. So make it true so that the things will become visible for us, right? So this is the default value. Underscore parameter, hidden parameter. Normally, it is not advisable to touch the hidden parameters, but in case if you now, since this is a little bit of senior level, you can try this out. But again, these parameters are not documented. We know that, so it's our own risk unless we get Oracle support. But for this one, we can try it out. But no worries, we don't need to enable that parameter because we have other methods to check that. But this is 12.2 on us, right? So, but in 12.1 there is another method, right? 12.1, it was not a underscore parameter. The parameter is there, it's not a hidden parameter. You need to enable that, but 12.2, they made it a hidden parameter, right? So it is explained as well, right? At the session instance level, there's a document ID I have given it to you. This is the document ID from my support. PDB seed data file is not appear in CDB data file. So there's a doc ID, right? And if you go to this place, you will see the details. So what they're asking is to make this parameter, change this parameter so that it will become visible. So anyway, let's check that one. This the ID, right? So you can, I think, yeah, that was there. I have logged in already. So let's check it. Login into the my support. You need to have a login, otherwise this is not accessible. This is not free now, right? You can create a login if you just subscribe to Cloud Portal Oracle. You can get the access. Yes, you can search the doc ID. I'm just taking a different route. Once you log in, if you just search the doc ID, it will come. Yeah, so this is doc ID. PDB seed data files not appear in CDB data file. So this is accepted behavior. That's what they are telling. Applicable from 12.1 or later, right? So goal PDB seed data not appear, right, under CDB data file, right? So what they are telling, you can see is the output is there, and what they are telling is solution. That is the expected behavior, right? You can see they are telling if you require to include the files, right? If you need to see that, PDB seed by setting the hidden parameter to false. Right, by setting the exclude seed CDB, actually default value is true, right? Earlier I said you need to make it, otherwise, right? It's obvious, right? So you need to make it false. So default value is true because by default we can't see it, right? On this is in 12.2 is a hidden parameter, but they are telling on 12.1 use this parameter. So it's not a hidden parameter in 12.1, right? You can just say alter system exclude CDB seed exclude seed CDB view false, right? This is 12.1. For 12.2, it has been changed to hidden parameter. So they are telling with the pics right there. So you can read this one, right? This doesn't matter. So that's accepted behavior. So we need to bear that for the time being. We don't need to change the, hidden parameters. So what we can do very simply, we can just go to our seed, right? And check the files. Very simple, right? Change the sessions to our seed. Then you can check CDB data files, right? Then you will see those things have been moved to data 2. Content ID 2 is seed and it's been moved to data 2. So now we have CDB mode, PDB mode, seed mode. So 11 files. Here is 8 and plus 3, 11. So the remaining what? Remaining 3 are the files, temp files, the temp file, right? So we need to follow up a different procedure to move the temp file. Remember, we are doing online, right? You can see the CDB and the PDB files have been moved to ASM, right? The next step, let's verify the migration. Now, if you go to RMAN and see now, as of now, what's the situation? So my database, I'm connecting to the same ORCL CDB, right? And you can see now 11 files have been moved to data 2, right? Data 2, but the temp files are remaining in local file system. The 3 temp files, which is belongs to CDB, main container, CDB is the main container, and we have seed temp file and we have pluggable. So all 3 remaining in local file system. So we need to move them. You can see above still the temp files are in local file system. So what we can do simply, we can just select the path of those things like this. We can just again select from video.temp file. And further, if you want to clarify, so we can get the content ID as well. So let's move them. What you can do, very simple, again, connect back to the database and very simple, alter table space temp, add temp file, give the ASM disk group, right? ASM disk group. So what's going to happen? It will automatically add the temp file. And by the way, why is not migrating? That's one. I mean, why can't we, right? We should have done it online. One of the reasons is because temporary files does not carry permanent storage that we know, right? That's the reason. That's one of the reasons. Temporary files is dynamically allocating space for those temporary files as required. So therefore, there is no permanent storage attached to it. So that's why we need to handle them separately, right? So, and adding it, then we can again check select temp file. Now you can see the new file being created. So what we can do, we can remove the main container file, and this is being added to the main container CDB. So what we can do, drop the existing one. So drop in the existing one. So make sure you are selecting the correct file. Right? So this is my file, which is belongs to main container. So very simple, you can get the container ID here. I haven't get the container ID, but on the letter I am getting the container ID. So just drop the relevant file for the main container because we have added to the main container, right? So now we are dropping, either we give the file name or the file ID. So here, so you can see I have get the container ID and the name. So now container 2 and 3 remains in local file system because for the container 1, the main container, it is having container 1 in the ASM disk because I have added that one. So what we can do for the remaining 2, so we can change the PDB, right? So we are going to add the temp file for PDB. So show PDBs, it is okay, read write, PDBs read write. So we can just switch to that one, switch to the PDB, then add that. Same procedure, add the temp file for PDB as well, then select. You can see I am within the PDB. So now the temp file will show only the PDB's temp file. Earlier I was in the main container, that's why it shows everything, all temp files. But here I am now only in the PDB. So therefore it shows me only that. So after adding, you can see one in this group and the existing one. And I have got the file ID this time. So file ID 3, this is the new file is 5. So what can I do? I can drop file number 3. Very simple. No need to give the path, right? Earlier I gave the path. Now the file ID. So drop it, right? And now we have done for 2, right? So 2 temp files are now successfully migrated to where? To the ASM disk, right? So the last one is step 3. So now what remains, right? Select, so yeah, this is PDB. This is what we have migrated. Number 5. This is for the pluggable database. So only remaining is what? Seed, right? So only remaining is seed. So let's, yeah, in the same video, let's complete that one as well so that it is done, the whole migration. Step 10. So let's move the Pdb seed, right? So what we can do, because, all right, so let's jump to the next video because otherwise this is dragging, jumping more than 15 minutes. So the last step, let me go to the next video, right? In the next session, I'll explain it, right? How to move the seed one, because we have to follow a special procedure to move the seed temp file. All right, if you like the video, you can put a subscribe, and I'll meet you soon in the next session. Okay, have a nice day. Bye bye.